Hello and welcome to KinoTalk by Kyiv International Film Festival Molodist, dedicated to Visegrad Cinema Days 2020, which we organized this year on October 8th, 11th. And one of the films we are showing is Havel by SLAVEK HORAK. And I'm very glad to welcome the director, SLAVEK.
Hi,
Hello.
hi, SLAVEK here. Yeah.
So let's start with the question. I guess, Havel is, as the audience can guess, if they haven't seen the film yet, but hopefully they have already, is a film about Václav Havel, the playwright, dissident, political figure, president of Czechoslovakia at first, then Czech Republic, and a prominent intellectual. But I guess you don't really need to explain who he is because everyone knows who Václav Havel was. So SLAVEK, I'm curious why you decided to make this film about him. Why did you decide to take on this really big challenge and responsibility in portraying such a huge figure?
Yeah, well, I was looking for a story for, I did my first film 5 years ago, and then I was looking for a story for my second film, and I was looking for a story as big as I can find. And well, in my country, I'm always, when I'm looking for a story, I'm looking for interesting character. So that's the main thing, that I'm looking for an interesting hero of the story, and the story comes second. But the hero must be somebody that I really love and that I want to talk about, and I want to tell his story. And the biggest hero in from all the Czech heroes for me is Václav Havel. So it was quite simple, and I was just lucky that there was no big not a single feature film on Václav Havel. And when I decided to do a film about him, I knew that I want to, because there are you could make 5 films about Václav Havel, about different periods of his life. And also the presidential period would be super interesting. But I wanted to do, because I'm always interested in the transformation of the character. So I wanted to do the period in which he transforms the most. And that is the period of his dissident years, when he transforms from the playwright to human rights activist, and then he transforms to president. So that's the genesis of this story of this film.
So you won't be making Havel 2 about his presidential life?
People are asking. It would be definitely fun, but I don't think with the current president at the Prague Castle they would let us shoot at the Prague Castle. So Havel is not very popular with the current politicians, so probably not. Yeah.
But how can he not be popular since he's such a, huge figure?
He is a huge figure, but right now, right now the political situation, and I don't want to talk about politics too much, but just in short, right now the political situation in Czech Republic is sort of strange, because there is also a return of the communists into the government. They're supporting the government, and it's very bizarre for us, because Václav Havel is now by many politicians viewed with very much cynicism like he was naive and he was too idealistic, and he was not like this practical politician enough, which is true, but his ideals and his let's say maybe naivety, those were his best qualities, and that's why he was so popular, and that's why the whole country followed him, and that's why he was leader of the revolution. But these days, it's like half and half. Half the nation still loves Václav Havel and thinks he's a hero, and he was the greatest president we ever had. And I think the same. But half the nation says that he's overrated and he was not practical and he could do better and blah, blah, blah. So there was quite a lot of controversy when we put the film in the cinemas.
Do you think this reflects on how the viewers will or have received the film now that you have released it?
It definitely shows that the Czech society is really like split into two halves. One half of the society, they just promote economy above everything else. You know, they don't care about human rights. They just want the economy to work and to have the job and just the basic needs. And the other half of the society is ready to sacrifice something for like higher values and for some morals. But it's not like during the revolution or 30 years ago, like most of the society was really elated and very excited about having such a president who promotes civil rights and all the sort of abstract values. But these days people went back to like normal everyday life, and then they just want the economy to be stable. And they think, for example, that if the current politicians are, I don't know, commenting on the state of human rights in China or anywhere else, that it's threatening our economy and it's threatening our well-being, which is, which like half the society thinks this way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like direct opposite of what Havel was saying. Havel was always saying we have to help the weak because we were always weak, and without the help of all others, we would never transform our society.
Let's
heavy stuff in the very beginning. Sorry, didn't want to talk about politics, but with Havel, it's inevitable.
Of course, it's impossible. But let's go back to your film. Yeah. Less about politics, more about film. So, like you said, there were no fiction films about him, but there were some documentaries. Did you use them as any point of reference? And generally, how did you research and write the film? Because you were one of the writers. Yeah. What was this process like? Yeah,
well, luckily, Václav Havel is very popular, and there is lots of materials on him. There is even an institution called the Václav Havel Library, which is housing a huge online archive. And there's absolutely everything. Not only his plays, all his interviews, but also like police reports and everything. So it's great institution that is mapping out his life. And so that was the biggest source of research and of inspiration. And also, there are some great documentaries on him, like Citizen Havel and others, which are also great inspiration. And mostly, and also there is still a lot of people who actually who lived in the 70s and 80s very close to Václav Havel. So we were also interviewing real people about Václav Havel and about his wife Olga, because I never met him in person. I saw him once, but I never talked to him. So I had to. We had to like reconstruct everything from the interviews and from the archives.
Even though you excluded his presidency and his later life, finishing the film with him announcing that he's running for president, but still it's such a large lifespan that you were depicting. And the film is consists of these pieces of from his life, different scenes from his life, that become such a patchwork portrait that shows his transformation. And what I'm going to ask is, there was definitely a risk that it could have been just these small pieces not fitting together or not becoming wholesome, but you have managed to make it a singular, wholesome portrait of him and of his transformation, of his way toward becoming who he was. So you must have been aware of that risk. How did you work to avoid these mistakes?
Yeah. We were very aware of this because we didn't want to do just illustrated biography, because that's boring. It's just like this happened to him, this happened to him. We wanted to do, from the very beginning, we wanted to do drama. And of course, to do drama, there are certain rules that we have to follow. So, as I said, the main thing was to show the transformation of the hero. So we were choosing only material that was showing his transformation from playwright to human rights activist to president. We were only showing material and picking up the events from his life that in some way cast a light on his motivations. Why this playwright who had everything, he had money, he had fame, why is he suddenly risking jail and doing all this crazy forbidden stuff? And so that was like the first thing that was leading us. That was like this thin red line that we wanted to follow, the transformation. And the second thing was that we knew that we are covering like 20 years, from 1968 when he was dramatist to 1989 when he became president. But we knew we cannot cover it like year by year. So we deliberately we decided to show just the decisive moments from each period and then skip like a lot of time. So we were skipping, sometimes we were skipping like 8 years, 10 years. And then we were showing just like 2 months of some intense events, like around the Charter 77 when they are starting the dissident movement. There was very intense period and we were showing just 2 months of this period and then we skip another couple of years. And of course we were afraid that this skipping forward could leave big gaps in the storytelling, but we avoided this or we tried to avoid this by finding a unifying theme of the main motive, the main theme of the film. And that for us was Havel's consciousness, his realizing that if he does bad things, if he does wrong things, if he's covered, then he feels so bad that it's actually for him, it's worse than going to prison. So that was like the universal theme. So we were choosing events from his life, and there were like thousands of brilliant events and funny events and dramatic events, but we were only choosing events that show his transformation from the playwright to human rights activist, and also events that deal with his consciousness, with his fight with himself, and that was it. Mm-hmm. So if it holds, I think it holds thanks to this selection and thanks to this decision to follow just these events that address the main theme of the film, which is Havel's fight with his own consciousness.
Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you about the main actor, Viktor Dvorak, correct me if I'm pronouncing it. So was it difficult to find him? Did you spend a lot of time looking for him?
It was very difficult because Havel is he's such an iconic face, especially in Czech Republic, you know, and I think the world over. He was really famous, and so I was in the beginning, I thought we will never find anybody who would be great actor and also look like Václav Havel. So I was just looking at all great actors, and I was like, okay, we will do as much as we can in the makeup, but forget it. We are never going to find, you know, a guy who would be similar to Havel. So I was just looking basically for a guy who is a similar character as Havel, who is basically shy, who is intellectual, who is this kind of outsider. And it's quite difficult because actors are usually quite extrovert, and especially we were looking for an actor who is like 40. And at this age, actors are usually at their top form, so they're very like self-confident, and Havel was not. But then we found a little-known theater actor, Victor, who came to the casting, and I was shocked because actually in real life he does not look so much as Havel, but when he sits in front of the camera, it was such a big shock because suddenly he was looking like Havel, and he was very well prepared. He knew perfectly all the Havel's speech impediments and all the tics and all the behavior. So he was just fantastic from the first moment. And then we also, and he's also like small, just like Václav Havel. And even people who knew Václav Havel very well, they say it's incredible because he even walks like Václav Havel, not only talks. So we were very lucky with Victor. And Victor is not very famous in Czech Republic. He is now, of course, but he was not very famous. And that was also great because people could really watch the character, not the actor portraying the character. But the main thing was with Victor that he's very similar inside to Havel, that he's very thoughtful, he's very intellectual, he's very quiet, actually, very polite, just like Václav Havel. And we found out that he's also born 2 days from Václav Havel. Actually, on 7th of October, he had a birthday yesterday. Václav Havel was born on 5th October, 3 days ago. So he's like, even astrology was on our side, you know. He was the same astrological sign and the same character.
Congratulate him on our behalf.
We were very, very lucky with him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it was a long casting process, and actually, I was seeing actors for like 2 or 3 months before we found Victor. Wow. Yeah, and there was a if we have time, there was a funny little story how we found Victor. That my co-writer, he told me, listen, who's going to play Havel? And I was like, I have no idea because no Czech actor is not similar to Havel at all. No famous Czech actor. And he said, listen, 20 years ago when I was at the film school, I was sharing a dormitory room with a guy who looked like Havel, and he was studying acting. And I was like, it's like 1 to 1,000,000 chance. The guy is probably, I don't know, he's probably not even an actor anymore, you know, because I never heard about him. And he told me his name, and I didn't even try to find him because I thought it's total nonsense. And only when Victor came to the casting, I realized it's the same guy that my co-writer was talking about. It was a complete accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a funny coincidence.
Yeah, totally.
Well, congratulations on such a strong work. I think both Victor and you and your team deserve a lot of awards and recognition, and I hope the film gets what's most important, many viewers.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, we have to finish this.
Okay.
Thank you again, SLAVEK.
Oh, thank you. That was great. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And this was ＫіноTalk about Havel, the film which we are screening as part of our Visegrad Cinema Days program. My name is Bohdan Zhuk, and come see other films and see you.
Thank you, Bohdan, and all the best with the festival. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.